What if I told you I turned one of the worst Disney villains of all time into one of the best Disney villains of all time? Guaranteed to bring even the most thick-skinned audience to tears. Because I spent a crap ton of hours researching human psychology to give you guys the artistic movie villain you deserve. But first, let me explain how they wrote him is...
It's the biggest piece of dog that I have ever heard.
Apparently Magnifico was a narcissist, which is writing terms for I don't have enough time to give my character a genuine motive or backstory, so I'll just slap a mental illness on him and call it a day. Why is this bad, you may ask? Well, it's because it removes the realistic element from the story. Because in real life, people don't come out of the womb doing an evil laugh with plans to take over the world. There's always a reason to why people are the way they are. And putting that in a movie makes the villain connectable to the audience, enhancing the effect of the story. For example, Tai Lung wasn't a guy who just wanted to take over the Valley of Peace for fun, like most terrible villains are nowadays. Tai Lung was rejected for no reason after training his entire life to be the Dragon Warrior. That's perfectly connectable, and I can feel that. Being connectable and being evil for a reason is something every good villain has. Don't believe me? Okay, name one popular villain that people love who doesn't have a genuine reason for being evil. Yeah, just what I thought. Now let me name popular villains that do have a genuine reason for being evil. The Joker, Thanos, Jigsaw, Elon Musk, Darth Vader. You get the idea. Now that I've proven why genuine motives work, let's give Magnifico a genuine motive. So he's just a young boy living in a village with nothing special about him, and his name is Magnus. Now Magnus has a pretty normal life, but there's a crucial problem. Magnus's father is extremely strict. You'll see why that's important later in the video. Don't get me wrong, Magnus's father does love him like a lot, in fact, but instead of blatantly expressing it like normal parents, he takes a more tough love approach. He doesn't let Magnus go out and play with the other kids ever, because the father is the king of the village, and he fears that one of the people who don't like him are gonna hurt Magnus. So Magnus has to stay inside the castle the whole day, and only once a week is he allowed to go on a walk in an isolated area accompanied by guards. Something similar to what Elsa had to deal with. What a terrible life for any child to live. Kids need social interaction to properly develop, so there's obviously going to be something off with Magnus. And the thing off about him is that he has this weird obsession with supernatural, because he doesn't have friends to bully him into knowing that stuff isn't real. He tries to invent magic and figure out a way to become a sorcerer. What is this, a Disney movie? It's quite unhealthy to obsess over something impossible. But anyway, can you really blame the king? Having Magnus go crazy is better than having Magnus die, right? Even though it does seem a bit too much. And this is also unfortunately true in real life. I'm not going to go into specifics, but you can imagine how politicians' children feel. It's like, instead of pick your team, it's more of a spawn on the far end of one side and automatically become like a big target for the opposing side without even choosing to do so. But anyway, back to Magnus, or his father, for now. Now the king is a pretty good king. Maybe a little too good. Unlike how he treats Magnus, he is a surprisingly generous king. He gives gold to the poor when they beg him for it. He doesn't arrest or harm people even though they say bad things about him. Take notes, China. He makes wise decisions to make sure everyone in the kingdom is well-fed, happy, and healthy. His villagers would love him, right? Wrong. They did at first, but not for long, because they got spoiled and took him for granted. And even though not punishing people who speak against you is a nice thing to do, it can lead to discord in the kingdom. No, not that discord. Discord as in a disagreement or quarrel within a group of people. And giving money and resources to the poor gives them the opportunity to use it against you. And making sure people have everything they want spoils them. Everything good the king did eventually hurt him in the long run. So the villagers start a rebellion and try to overthrow the king, because they realize that a monarchy isn't really like an effective system. Yeah, the king is pretty good, but what if his son isn't? What if his grandson isn't? This is a big flaw in monarchy, and the reason it was abolished in real life. So I've made the villagers rebelling make sense and show them as reasonable people, as well as show the king is also a reasonable man, making neither side the obvious bad guys. That's the goal Hollywood writers fail to get. Because if they were in my position, they would have either made the villagers evil for wanting to overthrow a good king, or the king some sort of selfish ruler and make him blatantly evil. But true beauty happens in a story where neither side is right, making things more complex, realistic, and enjoyable for the audience. And you can see all the popular movies have this in them. But anyway, back to the rebellion. So all the villagers throw a rebellion, and because the king is so nice, he never expected this and didn't hire that many guards to protect him. Poor king. So the villagers easily break into the castle and are implied to have killed the king. As the screen shows Magnus's face in horror, looking at where his father used to stand before the villagers grabbed him. The rebellion was successful. And now the villagers were going to imprison Magnus to make sure he isn't a threat to their newfound democratic society. But Magnus really invented magic and really became a successful sorcerer. So he fights off all the rebels to stop himself from getting imprisoned. Well, there's too many of them. He gets swamped. So Magnus has no choice but to flee the kingdom he grew up in, but with newfound powers. So that's a plus. After he runs away, usually you would think he would feel bad that all this happened, but no, he doesn't, because he's finally free after being trapped in a castle his whole life. Now he wants to be the king instead of sitting back and watching his father do everything. Magnus uses magic powers to create a new kingdom, like he's in creative mode. And eventually, he does. And more people slowly start to move in as they see a shiny new kingdom just popped up. When they wonder how that happened, Magnus explains that he made it and he's a magician. He also does a cool magic trick to impress all the new villagers, and they are very impressed and keep showering him with praise and compliments and treat him like a god. I mean, if someone could do magic, I would treat him like a god too. We all would. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason for his narcissism. Because I've been secretly, strategically been designing the story for this specific moment. Because studies show the three main things that can make someone a narcissist is 1. Lack of social connection resulting in a lack of empathy for others. Check. Number 2, feelings of trauma from the past like abusive parents or terrible living conditions. Check. Number 3, finally, an excessive amount of praise and compliments from others. Check, check, and a checkmate, Disney. I've given Magnifico a genuine reason for being the narcissist he is, that you with your millions of dollars failed to do, as well as a good reason for not fulfilling people's wishes, because he has learned from his father's mistakes and knows why he shouldn't give people everything they desire, as well as applying the tough love his father showed him to his people. And that is when he changes his name from Magnus to Magnifico, emphasizing the narcissist he has turned into. But wait, that's not all! There's more to the story, and there's a dark secret that you didn't know Magnifico was hiding this entire time. Click on this video to find out. And also, I'm finally making my own movie on what would happen if Mr. Beast ran for president. Click here if you want to see the trailer.